News just broke out, and it is spreading like wildfire across international headlines. Ukraine waited for the exact moment when Russia was preparing to celebrate what it claimed as a symbolic victory. And instead of allowing that celebration to happen, it launched devastating strikes with 270kg warheads on a main power plant. Hello my friends, welcome back to my videos. Today the focus is on one of the most shocking and precisely timed attacks of the war. One that has transformed pride into disaster and has left Russia reeling. The story is not just about the explosion of a facility. It is about the way timing, psychology, and precision warfare come together to completely change the momentum of a conflict. Ukraine's choice of striking at that exact moment reveals careful calculation and patience. Rather than wasting resources on smaller or symbolic targets, the operation focused on hitting a power plant that supplied a large portion of energy to a strategic region. By choosing the moment when Russia was preparing to present the plant as a show of strength during its celebration, the strike turned pride into humiliation. The attack destroyed not only physical infrastructure but also morale and confidence, delivering a deep psychological blow. The story shows how modern warfare is no longer only about weapons, but about the power of timing. From the outside, the scale of destruction was overwhelming. The power plant had been lit up brightly, standing like a fortress of energy and modern engineering. In seconds, the night sky was torn open by the incoming warheads. Explosions erupted with terrifying intensity, the once stable towers collapsing into fire and steel. Flames consumed the plant. Smoke rose like a storm cloud, and shockwaves rippled across the surrounding landscape. The exterior that once represented stability and control now became an image of collapse and chaos. This was not just a strike, it was a carefully engineered message shown to the entire world. Inside the facility, conditions shifted instantly from routine operations to complete panic. Workers in control rooms were thrown off their feet as shockwaves cracked the walls. Alarms blared at deafening levels, and monitors went blank. Within moments, systems went offline, backup grids failed, and the darkness swallowed what once was the nerve center of the plant. The interior scene was reduced to flickering emergency lights, scattered documents, and the sound of collapsing machinery. The sudden shift revealed how vulnerable even highly organized control environments are when hit at their weakest points. The performance of the attack was as much about accuracy as about destructive power. Ukraine used warheads of 270 kilograms, each selected for precision targeting of vital sections of the plant. This meant not just damaging outer structures, but penetrating directly into the core where the electricity production was most critical. By focusing on accuracy, the attack created maximum long-term disruption with minimal wasted effort. Military observers have noted that this was a masterclass in targeting, demonstrating that in modern warfare, efficiency and intelligence matter more than raw firepower. The strike's performance delivered both practical damage and symbolic victory, a combination that amplified its effect many times over. The power plant had been designed with multiple safety features, from fire suppression systems to backup generators, but those defenses were overwhelmed within moments. Firefighting measures could not withstand the heat and spread of the explosions. Backup power failed almost immediately, leaving entire sectors in darkness. Evacuation routes clogged with smoke and debris, and workers struggled to find safe exits. Safety planning that looked strong on paper collapsed under the sheer force of coordinated strikes. This was a grim lesson that no matter how advanced safety features may be, they cannot withstand a direct and precise military strike aimed at critical points. The limits of protection were brutally exposed. What makes this event unique is the timing of the strike. Ukraine did not act randomly or without thought. It waited until Russia had organized a moment of symbolic victory. By destroying the plant exactly at that point, the psychological effect multiplied. The celebration turned into shock and mourning. Instead of broadcasting strength, Russia was forced to face its weakness. The unique selling point of this strike is not only the destruction but the humiliation it caused, the proof that patience and timing can achieve what pure force often cannot. It was a military and psychological operation rolled into one, and that is what makes it unforgettable. The price of this strike cannot be measured in simple numbers, but its economic impact was massive. Millions of dollars of infrastructure were wiped out in seconds. The power plant, which took years to build and billions to maintain, was reduced to rubble. Energy supplies to entire regions collapsed, throwing thousands of civilians into darkness and halting industrial operations that relied on steady electricity. For Russia, the financial loss is enormous, but the reputational loss is even greater. The image of invulnerability was shattered. For Ukraine, the financial cost of the strike was tiny, compared to the massive return in economic, political, and strategic value. It was proof that smaller investments in precision can cripple much larger assets of the enemy. The conclusion from this dramatic event is that warfare today is not decided solely on battlefields, but in the minds of nations. By waiting for the perfect moment, Ukraine transformed a strike into a symbol, showing that celebrations can turn into tragedies in an instant. The destruction of the power plant highlights how patience can be as deadly as firepower. The event showed that even well-defended structures are vulnerable when hit with precision at their weakest moment. The attack crippled infrastructure, destroyed vital resources, and exposed weaknesses at a time when Russia wanted to show strength. It was more than just an attack. It was a statement written in smoke, fire, and silence. In modern conflicts, symbols often matter more than statistics. Russia had planned to use the plant as proof of its control, as a backdrop for victory celebrations. Instead, the strike turned it into a symbol of vulnerability. This transformation is what gives the operation its lasting effect. Beyond the numbers, beyond the rubble, the image of a proud power plant collapsing during celebrations will remain etched in memory. Ukraine demonstrated that in the 21st century, war is not just about who has more resources, but about who knows how to use timing and intelligence to exploit the enemy's pride. The global implications of the strike are also enormous. Energy instability has ripple effects far beyond the borders of Russia and Ukraine. Markets react to sudden losses in infrastructure. Governments worry about the security of their own energy grids. And the international community sees firsthand how vulnerable even major facilities can be. The attack raises questions about the future of energy security in times of war, showing that no facility, no matter how important or well protected, is beyond reach. The precision strike on the power plant was a reminder that modern warfare has no clear boundaries between military, economic, and psychological domains. By choosing the right target at the right time, Ukraine managed to influence all three at once. The physical destruction crippled energy supply, the economic cost rattled Russia's finances, and the psychological impact crushed its moment of pride. This layered effect is the essence of strategic warfare today, and it explains why this particular attack is being studied worldwide as a turning point. In the end, what remains is the contrast. A facility that was supposed to symbolize power and stability became a symbol of weakness. A celebration meant to show strength turned into a scene of fire and collapse. A moment of triumph was transformed into disaster. That contrast is the core of this story, and it explains why the event has become such a defining image of the conflict. Ukraine's patience, precision, and strategy came together to write a message that cannot be ignored. This is the story of how 270kg Warheads met a main power plant at the exact moment Russia sought to celebrate. It is the story of how timing outweighed strength, how precision outweighed defense, and how psychology outweighed propaganda. It is a story that will be remembered not only as an attack, but as a lesson. In war, pride can become the greatest weakness, and the right strike at the right time can change everything.